So I'm Patrick Harman with the Hayden Harman Foundation. I do a lot of work in the community, a lot of neighborhood work. Started a few organizations like Growing High Point, President John Coltrane, in the Coltrane Festival. But today I'm mostly going to be talking about Resilience High Point. And so this is an organization we started a few years ago. Learned about adverse childhood experiences and toxic stress and the impacts that it has on youth in terms of physical health, mental health, academic performance. And if those issues aren't addressed in some fashion, you can carry those into adulthood, and you're still sort of reacting to the trauma of childhood. And so when you learn about these things, you say, well, I should do something about it, right? And so started this about almost 3 years ago now with some fellow organizations in town, and we called it Resilience High Point. Because we want our community not to survive, but to thrive, right? We want to elevate our folks in High Point. So this is Rene Rivera. He lived in Paris. And then last month, he fell out for whatever reason on the sidewalk in Paris and lay there for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. He lay there for 9 hours. People walking by as he was laying there, right? About 9 hours later, somebody who was homeless checked in on him. It was too late. Checked in Paris, died of hypothermia. All those people walking by him. So keep Mr. Robert in mind as I talk. So he was not actually homeless. He was a fairly well-known photographer. Loved flamenco. There was a club in Paris called Catalan, where a lot of Spanish folks went to hang out, have fun, and he was captivated by the singers and dancers, and so gained some renown with these types of photographs. And he didn't actually speak any Spanish. He just felt connected to it and wanted to just communicate this culture to folks in the world. So President Obama talked, when he was president, about empathy deficit in this country. It's really something we have in the world. We've got an empathy deficit, and it's really going to kill us all if we don't do something about it. And so he's talking about this, 10, 15 years ago. And it's, I think, gotten worse since he was president. That's one reason Resilience High Point partnered with the library this past summer. Hopefully you guys participated in this community read. Trust First, a book by a minister who went to Atlanta, created the City of Refuge. So full service kind of day center to help people get back on track in their lives. Been quite successful. And his whole thing was you got to extend trust and grace again and again to really get people back to where they need to be. But the truth is, empathy is not enough. I'm sure there are plenty of Parisians who walk by Mr. Robert and say, whatever happened to him? It's so sad that this guy has to sleep on the sidewalk. But they didn't do anything. They just kept on walking by. So it's really necessary but insufficient. Again, we have to take things to another level. Right? So we have to turn empathy into action, which is compassion. So this is something Resilience High Point, our board, has been talking about for a while. But we really need to have a movement of compassion in our community. We need to elevate our own behavior and the behavior of our neighbors. So 40 seconds. 40 seconds is the amount of time that a physician needs to utilize compassionate behavior to get to develop a relationship with their patient. And in return, by demonstrating compassion, patients take their medication better, they follow their treatment plan better, and they disclose more to their physician, so you get better treatment, right? And how long would it take for somebody to go, hey, Mr. Robert, hey man, are you doing all right? Within a lot less than 40 seconds. So compassion is not necessarily a long time thing. It's just being in the moment and reacting to somebody. 40 seconds. So compassion not only changes your behavior, but it changes the behavior of those to whom you show compassion. Right? Just like the patient and the physician. So we're not just changing ourselves, we're changing our neighbors. We show compassion. And so this fall, we kicked off Compassionate High Point Initiative, Resilience High Point, at the parade here in town. And this is a charter. We're getting people to make an intentional commitment to being compassionate to our neighbors. That's why you see the Commitment to Compassion Charter back here. So this is the 6 values for our charter. Some of these are sort of person to person, trying to understand your neighbor, trying to get engaged with your neighbors. And some of these are more systemic, more upstream ideas to sort of get involved and solve and address some of our issues here at High Point. I also remember, and we have a lot of good things here at High Point, right? We have a lot of assets. So we're operating from a place of abundance. So this is the commitment you're making if you sign the charter to make High Point a place where people thrive. So this is Charlene Gladney, who's here, right? So she's the founder and executive director of Operation Excel, which is an after-school program, a summer program throughout the county. They do tutoring, leadership, STEM, arts, the whole nine. But she's not an educator. She's an electrical engineer, right? But she was at our church back 15 years ago. I realized a lot of the kids in the church were struggling academically, and she's like, well, I need to do something about this. And so she started Operation Excel, right? So that's kind of what we mean by compassion, to get involved in their community and make a difference, because it changes the behavior of all those students she's supported for 15 years. So when we first started Resilience High Point, we did a needs assessment. This is before COVID, in the fun times, late 2019. And this is a map showing life expectancy in the various parts of High Point. And so this pale gray is about 70 years of life expectancy, 27260 zip code. And then the dark purple is about 87 years life expectancy. That's 17 years between this area and the core city where we work and the dark purple area, right? That's almost a generation, right? 17 years, right? So when you find out something like this, well, we should do something about it, right? And so recently, a couple of things have happened that can make this possible. And this is something that involves the Hayden Harman Foundation, Resilience High Point, and Growing High Point, and a bunch of partners. We're calling this the Bridge. It's an integrated hub of services, principally for the 27260 zip code. And this is the former police station. As most of you know, the police station moved recently. And so this will be the home of the Bridge, where a lot of these services I'm going to talk about would occur. And how we're going to fund this, or how we're proposing to fund this, is through American Rescue Plan dollars, which are from the federal government, which are designed to address COVID inequities. There's a lot, as we know, there's been a lot of inequities in our world, and COVID has made things much worse. So we've been talking to the city and the county to support this effort through these dollars. So this is a bit political, because they haven't decided yet. So Growing High Point, it's a major partner regarding the food activities that are going to go on the Bridge. And Growing High Point, we started in 2016 doing urban farming. Jose is one of our first urban farmers, is now on the staff. And so the idea is folks grow and sell at the market. And then we started Grodega, the mobile grocery store, last March, to serve food deserts in High Point. And we started in the Navy area as well, if you want to learn about beekeeping. So behind the police station, there's this area where the police used to work out. So we're proposing to make that a model farm. So Jose can teach paid apprenticeships and youth about farming, not just the know-how, but also the business side of farming, how to maximize income. And of course, the produce grown from this will also support the Grodega, sells fresh produce. And then there's this beautiful garage here behind the police station that we're proposing to use as a food hub. We have a small one on Washington Street at the moment. This is like 4 times as big. I just love this. Particularly, there's no heating and cooling in our food hub, and you see this beautiful air conditioner right here outside. Jealous, right? But this can really make the model farm really productive, because we can wash, prep, and store produce to sell at markets through the Grodega. We can do food delivery. Just started food delivery with Grodega So that can really amp that up. And a fully functioning food hub employs about 25 people. So once this thing gets fully activated, we can hire people from the community, because you get drivers, logistics, marketing, bookkeeping, all kinds of things. So this can really be quite a big deal to have this beautiful garage activated like that. And then we're also proposing in the old police station, a community kitchen, a shared use kitchen, to create value-added products to sell through bodega, and also to encourage budding food entrepreneurs to try out their recipes. It's sort of a grassroots kind of a way. We want to work with folks, soup to nuts, about the business of trying to sell what you're making. So there's a bit of a barrier to utilize the shared use kitchen. You have to be serve safe, there's insurance, you have to pay. So you can spend $1,000, $1,500 and find out your family may love your cookies, but nobody else does, right? So we want to lower the entry and we want to encourage folks to try things out. We can also do pop-up restaurants as well and feed the community out of here. Healthy cooking and all that sort of stuff may be happening at this place. I'm so jealous of this picture. You have to imagine it because it's not that way in the police station right now. So the second element of the bridge is health services. As you guys know, Harman University has all these lovely health science programs. And so I've been meeting with them over the past few months to see how we can sort of work together to provide services to the 27260 zip code, folks underinsured or uninsured, or not even having a medical home. So the physical therapy clinic, they have a free clinic in High Point behind the old mall. And they were talking about, a lot of times people go through the 10 to 12 sessions and do these things at home, and people generally don't do them at home. So there's an opportunity to do at the bridge, sort of some follow-up sessions with folks up into their free clinic. And then also offering yoga and Tai Chi to the community as well, that really improves your balance and mobility. So that's what physical therapy folks can do for us. And also want to do walking clubs. Morehead Recreation Center is right behind the police station. And so walking clubs are a great way to reduce isolation, build social capital, and improve mobility, and all that sort of stuff. So I'm excited about walking clubs we can do at the bridge. So Harman University's Physician Assistant Program, I was meeting with those folks. And so that is initially some of the professors will volunteer a few times a month seeing folks. But then in a couple of years, actually have a physician assistant and a supervising physician to really ramp up the number of folks that can be seen in the community. And in the pharmacy program, they have an initiative called the Stewardship Program, where they work with seniors to help them understand Medicare. Because my wife just went through this, and it's very confusing, all the different choices. So they work with seniors on navigating that process. And they also have a medication management program that they do. So they'll be doing that in the community over at the bridge. All right, and then the final element is youth services. Those are some of the partners that have agreed to help out with some programming over at the bridge, because Morehead Recreation Center is right next to the police station. So there's a whole beautiful campus where all kinds of things can go on between the two facilities. And so we can do tutoring and mentoring and arts and dance. D-Up can do basketball skills training all inside the facility. And in these lovely fields, we can do field hockey and pick up soccer games and all kinds of fun activity. And really the goal of these organizations, one of these pop-up events, is to get them attached to these organizations so parents can find out about youth serving organizations in town and what they can do. And so we can get them signed up with Boys and Girls Clubs or D-Up or YW on a regular basis, so they're getting constant support for the youth. So it's not just these one-offs, it's just a way to connect people up. And then the final element, which is really one of the most important ones, is community outreach. We're hosting a couple of outreach positions, work with neighborhood associations, churches, places of worship. Communicate what's going on with the bridge. That's one thing we found with the foundation. The door knocking is very critical. That's Connect program. It's had great success. Knocking on doors, we want to do the same sort of thing. Educate people about what's going on with the bridge and also what resources are available in the community. And then also a police substation to build good relationships between the police and the communities. That will be a proposed element as well. So that is the bridge in a nutshell. I've talked to city council members and presented the Prosperity and Livability Committee a few months ago about this project, and I've also talked to county officials about seeking their support as well. But the council and the county commissioners are deciding right now, over the next month or two, how to allocate some of this money. And so this is kind of a pitch for you guys who are not council members. If you're supportive of this idea, to let them know that you support this concept. So, here's my contact information. If you want me to talk to you or any group, church group, or anything like that. There's a couple other things related to the Compassion Charter, a couple of different strategies. First is a movie, a documentary called The Antidote. It's about kindness, what regular people can do in their community, and we're showing it this Saturday at Macedonia Foundry Resource Center at 2 o'clock, so there's a flyer for that. But we have a license to show it multiple times, so if you have a group that may want to see this documentary, let me know. And the other thing we're going to be kicking off, thankfully, is maybe getting out of COVID. Our conversation cafes, you want to have conversations about compassion. What does a compassion at High Point look like? If I'm a stranger, and I come to High Point in 10 years and spend a week here, how would I know High Point's compassionate? So we can develop some strategies out of that. So that's a couple other things that are available. But have a compassion High Point, so that's my contact information. And so if you want to sign the charter today, of course, you got the big one here. You can also digitally sign it. There's a website, Compassion High Point. So that's it. Thank you. Any questions?